Completely settled misfortune, leaving stage and page a floodgate with blood or tears, incites a washed clean quiet in the peruser, even as it plays devastation with her mascara. Muslin-clad sentiments squashed in embraces on the last page, or chocolate box secrets tied off with a twist of settling strip, leave me murmuring and loaded. Indeed, even endings forecasting inescapable continuations, wherein a crucial hero or mission object presently can't seem to be liberated or discovered, YA sets of 3, I'm Seeing You, can expand my feeling of prosperity, on the off chance that I delighted in the book's reality and its composition. Another to expect is no awful thing. Yet, there is a minuscule subset of uncertain and underhanded endings that leave their heroes ready, defenseless, near the precarious edge of upheaval, with the peruser always cognizant, everlastingly horrified, and perpetually feeble to mediate. I call these swords of Damocles endings and stay away from them like the dark catarrh. Promotion? The first of these savage, cerebrum holding on to end results I experienced was a dramatic one, J.B. Priestley's An Inspector Calls, which I learned at school. It wasn't the constantly succeeding disclosures about the Burling family's synergistic doing to death of Eva Smith, sacked, disgraced and headed to self-destruction by common hardness and pietism, that allowed they might compare my kid head what to an earworm. It wasn't even the fire and blood and misery the inspector calls down on them in reward, despite the fact that I recall confusedly anticipating strict blazes, and potentially the presence of the Demon King, on the class outing to the genuine show. The reality the play closes with a call about a young lady's self-destruction, and the family's acknowledgement that while the inspector probably won't have been what he appeared, they haven't been let off all things considered. Their disgrace and distress have essentially been delayed. Both the arse-covering seniors and the contrite children are held at that time everlastingly, without the chance of truly confronting their misfortune or discovering reclamation past it. Like Eva Smith, they're not given any additional opportunity, just a short air pocket of fanciful expectation, which blasts as the shade falls. Essentially, Graham Greene's Brighton Rock culled the most reduced string in my mind when I read it in my teenagers, and has left it murmuring since. The exact, savage plains of the novel, sharp as a wounding bird's nose, are obvious to the peruser from its legitimately celebrated opening. Hale knew, before he had been in Brighton 3 hours, that they intended to kill him. Pinky, the really young-looking executioner, and his straightforward complex wretchedness, then again stepping down and empowering gullible Rose's spaniel love, makes for continued jumping on the peruser's part. So does his happy enemy, Ida, and her by one way or another ugly intractability, peeping out like wilted kids from the sprightly robe of the spirit of Christmas present. In any case, its closure, which leaves the bereft, pregnant Rose strolling quickly towards the most noticeably terrible repulsiveness of all, the plate on which Pinky has recorded a murmured message of contempt rather than the adoration words she thinks will give her mental fortitude, makes me need to beat on the glass board among peruser and book until it breaks, hold on to her by the shoulders and occupy her while another person breaks the record over his knee and burns down the pieces. Concerning M.O. Hader's Hanging Hill, it has bobbed around my agitated cerebellum since I read it recently, is as yet springing up from time to play cheerful damnation with my significant serenity. Its heroes, alienated sisters Sally and Zoe, explore the book's ethical labyrinth cumbersomely, and with successive, progressively calamitous bogus advances. The more terrible they do, the more awful is done to them, and the more noteworthy the peruser's anguish for their benefit. Hader's amazing inspiration of how tranquilly lethal a parent can become with regards to a kid. The second, when Sally saves Dread, birthing a thing that was skinless and sharp-toothed, with the gloomy appearance of a mythical beast, is firmly trailed by the brutal disclosure that her saved kid has cheerfully been shipped off into a wild of unmapped paths with a dull, tenderly spoken executioner, her mom missing the berserk telephone messages that bring the news past the point of no return. Some portion of my brain is as yet passing through those paths with a shotgun, and I think it generally will be. It is safe to say that anyone is else living vicariously under a suspended abstract sword, frantic for the goal they're never going to get without some Annie Wilkes-style creator hijack? Also, would you be able to direct me away from some other mind-dissolving not exactly upsets to GRC? This sort of ending makes my brain work on what if, for ages. It's completely different from a weak ending, which leaves me thoroughly dissatisfied. P.D. James is a culprit, Beautiful writing, good plotting, but the endings sometimes leave a distinct sense of the authors somehow wanting to finish the story before it's run its course. The whole novel is about choice, with all the death or freedom stuff in Greece and so on, so it had to end teetering on the point of a decision. Still, it was maddening to finish it on a beach, and have no way of finding out what that bloody Greek quote meant for another 2 weeks. Tomorrow let him love, who has never loved, he who has loved, let him love tomorrow. Fowles hinting at how he wanted Nicholas to decide. Rather lovely, I think. The original film adaptation of Brighton Rock, adapted for screen by Graham Greene, has a different ending for Rose, and the recording. I won't say more, but can you really spoil a 65-year-old film? It still leaves a similar feeling of the plot hanging forever in time, but it is more of a definite ending, at least as far as Rose's delusion is concerned. Which ending is better, I'm not sure. I guess the requirements for a good film and a good book are different.